Norfolk is an independent city in the Commonwealth of Virginia, United States. At the 2010 census, the population was 242,803. In 2015, the population was estimated to be 247,189, making it the second most populous city in Virginia, behind neighboring Virginia Beach. Norfolk is located at the core of the Hampton Roads metropolitan area, named for the large natural harbor of the same name located at the mouth of Chesapeake Bay. It is one of 9 cities and 7 counties that constitute the Hampton Roads metro area, officially known as the Virginia Beach-Norfolk-Newport News (VANCMSA). The city is bordered to the west by the Elizabeth River and to the north by the Chesapeake Bay. It also shares land borders with the independent cities of Chesapeake to its south and Virginia Beach to its east. One of the oldest of the cities in Hampton Roads, Norfolk is considered to be the historic, urban, financial, and cultural center of the region. The city has a long history as a strategic military and transportation point. The largest Navy base in the world, Naval Station Norfolk, is located in Norfolk along with one of NATO's 2 strategic command headquarters. The city also has the corporate headquarters of Norfolk Southern Railway, one of North America's principal Class I railroads, and Maersk Line, Limited, which manages the world's largest fleet of U.S. flag vessels. The city is bordered by multiple bodies of water. Norfolk has many miles of riverfront and bayfront property, including beaches on the Chesapeake Bay. It is linked to its neighbors by an extensive network of interstate highways, bridges, tunnels, and 3 bridge tunnel complexes, the only bridge tunnels in the United States. History. Colonial years. In 1619, the governor for the Virginia colony, Sir George Yardley, incorporated 4 jurisdictions, termed chitties, for the developed portion of the colony. These formed the basis for colonial representative government in the newly minted House of Burgesses. What would become Norfolk was put under the Elizabeth Chitty Incorporation. In 1634, King Charles I reorganized the colony into a system of shires. The former Elizabeth Chitty became Elizabeth City Shire, after persuading 105 people to settle in the colony. Adam Thorogood was granted a large landholding, through the headrights system, along the Lynnhaven River in 1636. When the Southampton Roads portion of the shire was separated, Thorogood suggested the name of his birthplace for the newly formed New Norfolk County. 1 year later, it was split into 2 counties, Upper Norfolk and Lower Norfolk, chiefly on Thorogood's recommendation. This area of Virginia became known as the place of entrepreneurs, including men of the Virginia Company of London. Norfolk developed in the late 17th century as a half-moon fort was constructed and 50 acres were acquired from a local natives of the Powhatan Confederacy in exchange for £10,000 of tobacco. The House of Burgesses established the town of Lower Norfolk County in 1680. In 1691, a final county subdivision took place when Lower Norfolk County split to form Norfolk County and Princess Anne County. Norfolk was incorporated in 1705. In 1730, a tobacco inspection site was located here. According to the Tobacco Inspection Act, the inspection was at Norfolk Town, upon the fort land, in the county of Norfolk, and Kemp's Landing, in Princess Anne, under one inspection. In 1736, George II granted it a royal charter as a borough. By 1775, Norfolk developed into what contemporary observers argued was the most prosperous city in Virginia. It was an important port for exporting goods to the British Isles and beyond, in part because of its merchants' numerous trading ties with other parts of the British Empire. Norfolk served as a strong base of Loyalist support during during the early part of the American Revolution. After fleeing the colonial capital of Williamsburg, Lord Dunmore, the royal governor of Virginia, tried to re-establish control of the colony from Norfolk. Dunmore secured small victories at Norfolk but was forced into exile by the American rebels, commanded by Colonel Woodford. His departure brought an end to more than 168 years of British colonial rule in Virginia. On New Year's Day, 1776, Lord Dunmore's fleet of 3 ships shelled the city of Norfolk for more than 8 hours. The damage from the shells and fires started by the British and spread by the Patriots destroyed over 800 buildings, almost 2/3 of the city. The Patriots destroyed the remaining buildings for strategic reasons in February. Only the walls of St. Paul's Episcopal Church survived the bombardment and subsequent fires. A cannonball from the bombardment remains within the wall of St. Paul's. 19th century. Following recovery from the Revolutionary War's burning, Norfolk and her citizens struggled to rebuild. In 1804, another serious fire along the city's waterfront destroyed some 300 buildings and the city suffered a serious economic setback. During the 1820s, agrarian communities across the American South suffered a prolonged recession, which caused many families to migrate to other areas. Many moved west into the Piedmont, or further into Kentucky and Tennessee. Such migration also followed the exhaustion of soil due to tobacco cultivation in the Tidewater, where it had been the primary commodity crop for generations. Virginia made some attempts to phase out slavery, and manumissions had increased in the first 2 decades after the war. Thomas Jefferson Randolph gained passage of an 1832 resolution for gradual abolition in the state, but by that time, increased demand from development in the Deep South created a large internal market for slavery. Invention of the cotton gin in the late 18th century had enabled the profitable cultivation of short staple cotton in the uplands, which was widely used. The American Colonization Society proposed to repatriate free blacks and freed slaves to Africa by establishing the new colony of Liberia and paying for transportation. But most African Americans wanted to stay in the birthplace of the United States and achieve freedom and rights. For a period, many emigrants to Liberia from Virginia and North Carolina embarked from the port of Norfolk. Joseph Jenkins Roberts, a free person of color native to Norfolk, emigrated via the Axe and later was elected as the first president of Liberia, establishing a powerful family. On June 7, 1855, the 183-feet vessel Benjamin Franklin put into Hampton Roads for repairs. She had just sailed from the West Indies, where there had been an outbreak of yellow fever. The port health officer ordered the ship quarantined. After 11 days, a second inspection found no issues, so she was allowed to dock. A few days later, the first cases of yellow fever were discovered in Norfolk, and a machinist died from the disease on July 8. By August, several people were dying per day, and 1/3 of the city population had fled in the hopes of escaping the epidemic. No one understood how the disease was transmitted. With both Norfolk and Portsmouth being infected, New York banned all traffic from those sites. Neighboring cities also banned residents from Norfolk. The epidemic spread through the city via mosquitoes and poor sanitation, affecting every family and causing widespread panic. The number of infected reached 5,000 in September, and by the second week 1,500 had died in Norfolk and Portsmouth. As the weather cooled, the outbreak began to wane, leaving a final tally of about 3,200 dead. It took the city some time to recover. In early 1861, Norfolk voters instructed the delegate to vote for secession. Virginia voted to secede from the Union. In the spring of 1862, the Battle of Hampton Roads took place off the northwest shore of the city's Sewell's Point Peninsula, marking the first fight between two ironclads, the US Monitor and the CSS Virginia. The battle ended in a stalemate, but changed the course of naval warfare. From then on, warships were fortified with metal. In May 1862, Norfolk Mayor William Lamb surrendered the city to Union General John Ewell and his forces. They held the city under martial law for the duration of the Civil War. Thousands of slaves from the region escaped to Union lines to gain freedom. They quickly set up schools in Norfolk to start learning to read and write. Years before the end of the war, 20th century to present, 1907 brought both the Virginian Railway and the Jamestown Exposition to Sewell's Point. The large naval review at the exposition demonstrated the peninsula's favorable location and laid the groundwork for the world's largest naval base. Southern Democrats in Congress gained its location here. Commemorating the 300th anniversary of the founding of Jamestown, the exposition featured many prominent officials, including President Theodore Roosevelt, members of Congress, and diplomats from 21 countries. By 1917, as the U.S. built up to enter World War I, the Naval Air Station Hampton Roads had been constructed on the former exposition grounds. In the first half of the 20th century, the city of Norfolk expanded its borders through annexation. In 1906, the city annexed the incorporated town of Berkeley, making the city cross the Elizabeth River. In 1923, the city expanded to include Sewell's Point, Willoughby Spit, the town of Compostela, and the Ocean View area. The city included the Navy base and miles of beach property fronting on Hampton Roads and Chesapeake Bay. After a smaller annexation in 1959 and a 1988 land swap with Virginia Beach, the city assumed its current boundaries. With the dawn of the interstate highway system following World War II, new highways were constructed in the region. A series of bridges and tunnels, constructed during 15 years, linked Norfolk with the peninsula, Portsmouth, and Virginia Beach. In 1952, the downtown tunnel opened to connect Norfolk with the city of Portsmouth. The highways also stimulated development of new housing in suburbs, leading to the population spreading out. Additional bridges and tunnels included the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel in 1957, the Midtown Tunnel in 1962, and the Virginia Beach-Norfolk Expressway in 1967. In 1991, the new downtown tunnel, Berkeley Bridge Complex, opened a new system of multiple lanes of highway and interchanges connecting downtown Norfolk and Interstate 464 with the downtown tunnel tubes. In 1954, the Supreme Court ruled in Brown v. Board of Education that segregated public schools were unconstitutional, as the public system was supported by all taxpayers. It ordered integration, but Virginia pursued a policy of massive resistance. The Virginia General Assembly prohibited state funding for integrated public schools. In 1958, United States District Courts in Virginia ordered schools to open for the first time on a racially integrated basis. In response, Governor James Lindsay Almond, Jr. ordered the schools closed. The Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals declared the state law to be in conflict with the state constitution and ordered all public schools to be funded, whether integrated or not. About 10 days later, Almond capitulated and asked the General Assembly to rescind several massive resistance laws. In September 1959, 17 black children entered 6 previously segregated Norfolk public schools. Virginian pilot editor Lenoir Chambers editorialized against massive resistance and earned the Pulitzer Prize for editorial writing. With new suburban developments beckoning, many white middle-class residents moved out of the city along new highway routes, and Norfolk's population fell, a pattern repeated in numerous cities in the post-war era independently of segregation issues. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the advent of newer suburban shopping destinations along with freeways spelled demise from the fortunes of downtown's Granby Street commercial corridor, located just a few blocks inland from the waterfront. The opening of malls and large shopping centers drew off retail business from Granby Street. Norfolk's city leaders began a long push to revive its urban core. While Granby Street underwent decline, Norfolk's city leaders focused on the waterfront and its collection of decaying piers and warehouses. Many obsolete shipping and warehousing facilities were demolished. In the place, planners created a new boulevard, Waterside Drive, along which many of the high-rise buildings in Norfolk's skyline have been erected. In 1983, the city and the Rouse Company developed the Waterside Festival Marketplace to attract people back to the waterfront and catalyze further downtown redevelopment. Other facilities opened in the ensuing years, including the Harbor Park Baseball Stadium, home of the Norfolk Tide's Triple-A minor league baseball team. In 1995, the park was named the finest facility in minor league baseball by Baseball America. Norfolk's efforts to revitalize its downtown have attracted acclaim from economic development and urban planning circles throughout the country. Downtown's rising fortunes helped to expand the city's revenues and allowed the city to direct attention to other neighborhoods. Geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 96 square miles, of which 54 square miles is land and 42 square miles is water. Norfolk is located at 36.917 degrees north, 76.200 degrees west, 36.917 minus 76.200. The city is located at the southeastern corner of Virginia at the junction of the Elizabeth River and Chesapeake Bay. The Hampton Roads Metropolitan Statistical Area is the 37th largest in the United States, with an estimated population of 1,716,624 in 2014. The area includes the Virginia cities of Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Hampton, Newport News, Poquoson, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Williamsburg, and the counties of Gloucester, Isle of Wight, James City, Matthews, and York, as well as the North Carolina counties of Currituck and Gates. The city of Norfolk is recognized as the central business district, while the Virginia Beach Oceanside Resort District and Williamsburg are primarily centers of tourism. Virginia Beach is the most populated city within the MSA, though it functions more as a suburb. Additionally, Norfolk is part of the Virginia Beach-Norfolk (VANC) combined statistical area, which includes the Virginia Beach-Norfolk-Newport News (VANC MSA), the Elizabeth City, North Carolina Micropolitan Statistical Area, and the Kill Devil Hills NC Micropolitan Statistical Area. The CSA is the 32nd largest in the nation, with a 2013 estimated population of 1,810,266. In addition to extensive riverfront property, Norfolk has miles of bayfront resort property and beaches in the Willoughby, Spit and Ocean View communities. Being low-lying and largely surrounded by water, Norfolk is particularly vulnerable to rising sea levels. In addition, the land on which it is built is slowly subsiding. Some areas already flood regularly at high tide, and the city commissioned a study in 2012 to investigate how to address the issue in the future. It reported the cost of dealing with a sea level rise of 1 foot would be around $1 billion. Since then, in 2013, scientists at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science have estimated that if current trends hold, the sea in Norfolk will rise by 5.5 feet or more by the end of this century. Cityscape. When Norfolk was first settled, homes were made of wooden frame construction, similar to most medieval English-style homes. These homes had wide chimneys and thatch roofs. Some decades after the town was first laid out in 1682, the Georgian architectural style, which was popular in the South at the time, was used. Brick was considered more substantial construction. Patterns were made by bricklayed and Flemish bond. This style evolved to include projecting center pavilions, Palladian windows, balustraded roof decks, and two-story porticos. By 1740, homes, warehouses, stores, workshops, and taverns began to dot Norfolk's streets. Norfolk was burned down during the Revolutionary War. After the Revolution, Norfolk was rebuilt in Federal style, based on Roman ideals. Federal-style homes kept Georgian symmetry, though they had more refined decorations to look like New World homes. Federal homes had features such as narrow sidelights with an embracing fanlight around the doorway, giant porticos, gable-flat roofs, and projecting bays on exterior walls. Rooms were oval, elliptical, or octagonal. Few of these federal row houses remain standing today. A majority of buildings were made of wood and had simple construction. In the early 19th century, neoclassical architectural elements began to appear in the federal-style row homes, such as iconic columns in the porticos and classic motifs over doorways and windows. Many federal-style row houses were modernized by placing a Greek-style porch at the front. Greek and Roman elements were integrated into public buildings such as the Old City Hall, the Old Norfolk Academy, and the Customs House. Greek-style homes gave way to Gothic revival in the 1830s, which emphasized pointed arches, steep gable roofs, towers, and tracer-lead windows. The Freemason Baptist Church and St. Mary's Catholic Church are examples of Gothic revival. Italianate elements emerged in the 1840s, including cupolas, verandas, ornamental brickwork, or corner quoins. Norfolk still had simple wooden structures among its more ornate buildings. High-rise buildings were first built in the late 19th century when structures such as the current Commodore Maury Hotel and the Royster Building were constructed to form the initial Norfolk skyline. Past styles were revived during the early years of the 20th century. Bungalows and apartment buildings became popular for those living in the city. As the Great Depression wore on, Art Deco emerged as a popular building style, as evidenced by the Post Office building downtown. Art Deco consisted of streamlined concrete-faced appearance with smooth stone or metal, with terracotta, and trimming consisting of glass and colored tiles. Neighborhoods. Norfolk has a variety of historic neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods, such as Sparkley, were formerly cities and towns. Others, such as Willoughby, Spit, and Ocean View, have a long history tied to the Chesapeake Bay. Today, neighborhoods such as Downtown, Ghent, and Fairmount Park have transformed with the revitalization that the city has undergone. Climate. Norfolk has a humid subtropical climate with moderate changes of seasons. Spring arrives in March with mild days and cool nights, and by late May the temperature has warmed up considerably to herald warm summer days. Summers are consistently warm and humid, but the nearby Atlantic Ocean often exercises a slight cooling effect on daytime high temperatures, but a slight warming effect on nighttime low temperatures. As such, Norfolk has occasional days over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. temperatures over 100 F are rare, but can occur on occasion. On average, July is the warmest month, and August is the year's wettest month. Due to still frequent summer thunderstorm activity combined with a rising frequency of tropical activity, which can bring high winds and heavy rains, these usually brush Norfolk and only occasionally make landfalls in the area. The highest risk period is mid-August to the end of September. Fall is marked by mild to warm days and cooler nights. Winter is usually mild in Norfolk, with average winter days featuring lows near or slightly above freezing and highs in the upper 40s to mid-50s. On average, the coldest month of the year is January. Norfolk's record high was 105 degrees Fahrenheit on August 7, 1918 and July 24 and 25, 2010, and record low was -3 degrees Fahrenheit recorded on January 21, 1985. Snow occurs sporadically, with an average annual accumulation of 5.8 inches. Demographics. As of the census of 2010, there were 242,803 people, 86,210 households, and 51,898 families residing in the city. The population density was 4,362.8 people per square mile. There were 94,416 housing units at an average density of 1,757.3 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 47.1% white, 43.1% African American, 0.5% Native American, 3.3% Asian, 0.2% Pacific Islander, 2.2% from other races, and 3.6% from two or more races. Hispanics or Latinos of any race were 6.6% of the population. Non-Hispanic whites were 44.3% of the population in 2010, down from 68.5% in 1970. There were 86,210 households, out of which 30.3% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 36.9% were married couples living together. 18.8% had a female householder with no husband present, and 39.8% were non-families. 30.2% of all households were made up of individuals, and 9.6% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.45, and the average family size was 3.07. The age distribution was 24.0% under the age of 18, 18.2% from 18 to 24, 29.9% from 25 to 44, 16.9% from 45 to 64, and 10.9% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 30 years. For every 100 females there were 104.6 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 104.8 males. This large gender imbalance is due to the military presence in the city, most notably Naval Station Norfolk. The median income for a household in the city was $31,815, and the median income for a family was $36,891. Males had a median income of $25,848 versus $21,907 for females. The per capita income for the city was $17,372. About 15.5% of families and 19.4% of the population were below the poverty line, including 27.9% of those under age 18 and 13.2% of those age 65 or over. For the year of 2007, Norfolk had a total crime index of 514.7 per 100,000 residents. This was above the national average of 320.9 that year. For 2007, the city experienced 48 homicides for a murder rate of 21.1 per 100,000 residents. Total crime had decreased when compared to the year 2000, which the city had a total crime index of 546.3. The highest murder rate Norfolk has experienced for the 21st century was in 2005, when its rate was 24.5 per 100,000 residents. For the year 2007 per 100,000, Norfolk experienced 21.1 murders, 42.6 rapes, 399.3 robberies, 381.3 assaults, 743.3 burglaries, and 450.6 automobile thefts. According to the Congressional Quarterly Press 2008 City Crime Rankings, crime in metropolitan America, Norfolk, Virginia, ranked as the 87th most dangerous city larger than 75,000 inhabitants.